Hello, my name's Russell Brown from Creative About Cuisine, and today we're going to be doing a dish for you, working with some pastry. So nice and easy, but a dish that's going to have some fantastic flavours in it and is going to make a bit of a centrepiece really. And it's the sort of thing that you can put in the middle of the table for people to share, would make a great alternative for a Sunday lunch. So the first part of this recipe is sweating off some onions. So we're going to halve the onion and then we're just going to dice this up. Fairly fine dice to make it nice and easy to through the onion, and then 2 or 3 times through horizontally, just making sure you're tucking your fingers back underneath so that the knife's running up and down the flats of your fingers. If you go in with a little bit of salt, the salt helps to bring the moisture out in the onions, and that allows them to sweat rather than to caramelise. So the next thing we're going to do is work on our apples. I've got some English coxes here, so I'm just going to trim a little bit off the edges, just to square them up very slightly. And you should be able to get about 2 slices off each side before you get to the core. And then we're just going to dice these up. So we're just going to go for a little bit of pepper, tiny pinch of salt into our apples, and then we'll go in with some mustard. There's 2 spoonfuls in the recipe, one to go actually into the apple, and then the other one's going to go into our pork mix. So that's our apple nicely mixed, and we can start working on our pork mix then. Mustard's in there already, some onions, salt and some pepper. So we're going to go in with our sage. So we've got some fresh breadcrumbs to go into our pork mix. So I'm just mixing the breadcrumbs in just to make sure that they're nice and evenly distributed through the pork mix, and just the little bit of moisture from the onions, the little bit of oil that's in there will start to bring this together. You can start to see it's starting to clump. And then we've got our 50 ml of double cream here, which we're just going to add, and we're going to beat this in, and this should help the whole mix to emulsify. You can see it's starting to come together already. And we're going to use some cling film to help us to form our roll, and then we can tip our pork mix out onto the cling film. So I'm just going to press this down, and you're looking for a rectangle round about 30 centimetres by 20 centimetres. And then what we're going to do is run a line of apple up the middle here. And then the idea is that you've got your sheets of cling film that allow you to bring that pork up over that apple filling, encapsulating that apple inside the sausage meat. And then what we can do is roll this up and then just use the ends of the cling film to allow you to squeeze that in, and a little twist just to seal the ends. Half an hour or so in the fridge for that to set up while we roll out our pastry. So I've got some puff pastry here. It's not too cold but not too warm either. Some flour down on the bench, a little bit on the pastry as well. So if you start at the edge nearest you and then roll out away from you, come back and roll out away from you, and then if you turn down, and again making sure that you roll away from you, and just give the pastry a flap, a little roll that way. I'm just going to go very slightly more this side just to even a little bit of unevenness out there. So we're about 4 mils thick on that, which should give us a nice puff when the pastry's cooked. And what I've got here is just a single egg yolk, beaten up with an equal quantity of water, so about a tablespoonful of water to one egg yolk. unwrap my sausage meat. And you want about a 2 centimetre overlap on this. It probably wants to be about there. And this piece we're going to use to cut out some decorations for the finished article. Bring that over, and then you want the seam to be on the bottom, and I'm just going to use my thumb to work along and just push that seam down just so that we're really nicely sealed there. Back to our egg wash again, and I'm going to egg wash the whole of the roll, and our apples can just stick to the top. Get those out, and you can adjust the shape a little bit when they're cut, and they'll puff up, and we'll just go on with a little bit of egg wash there. Pop our apple on. And our pork and apple rolls ready to go into the oven. We've got the oven preheated on 160 degrees, and it'll be round about 40 minutes to cook. And that's ready for serving. Great in the centre of the table. Accompaniments for it, maybe something like potato wedges, an apple and watercress salad, mustard dressing, kind of goes with the flavours on it. So let's just take a slice, and we'll cut this open and see how we're doing here. And that's our pork, whole grain mustard and apple sausage roll.